Good morning, fellow gardeners. Well, we're going to sit down and do a little talking this morning, answering some questions. Let me get this mask off. There's nobody here but us. I do try to wear a mask everywhere I go, just to protect other people. I believe we should respect other people and try to slow the spread down. I don't know for sure. I'm not a medical person, but my son is an MD, and he says that we should wear our mask, wash our hands real often. But what we're here for is to talk about, you've grown in these containers last year, you've sat here over the winter time, now you're fixing to start again this spring. What are we going to do to regenerate those tubs, that soil that's in those tubs? Well, number one, don't throw it out. I will tell you, I have tubs that I've used the same soil in for 10 years. I just keep rejuvenating it and adding more on top of it. And it just keeps composting down a little more, and we have had no problems. I know a lot of people are going to tell you, oh, don't grow in the same soil over 2 years in a row. And that's fine if you want to throw it out. It's expensive. On this potting mix that you have in these containers, I hope it's the good, high quality. It's going to cost you some money now. Any way you go about getting high quality soil, it's going to be expensive. Now, I know there is some things you can use like spent mushroom soil. You can get horse manure and hay or chips that's been composted together and get by cheaper. The thing you don't want to use is something that is real heavy, like garden soil that's just sand and dirt. It just will not work in these wicking tubs. It has to be a good loose mix, which consists of peat moss, coconut coir, perlite, and it could be pine bark in it also, pine bark in it. Not sawdust. Sawdust will jerk your nitrogen out as it decays. See, your pine bark, it doesn't decay like the sawdust does as fast. So you can use pretty fresh a pine bark. Do not use sawdust unless this has been composted for several years. Now, the exception to that, I was down in South Texas putting up a house, and there was a place there that had did cedar lumber, and they had some sawdust there that was 50 years old sitting there in a pile, and when we dug into it, it looked just like it's fresh cedar sawdust, because cedar sawdust doesn't rot. So you can use cedar. Now, and some people may disagree with me on that, and that's fine, but I did use that cedar sawdust and did just fine with it. But otherwise, you're going to have to use a soil that you buy at a chain store in a high quality. You're going to get a 3 cubic foot bag anywhere from $19.95 to $21, $22.95, something like that. Don't go buy the $1 bags that you can get at some of these chain stores. It's just old muck stuff. That will never work. Now, if that's the kind of soil you've used this last year, you didn't have good results, you're going to have to dump that soil out and get you some better soil some way, whether you can mix some pine bark in with that or perlite in with that and loosen it up. You've got to get it looser so it's going to work. It has to have a balance of air and water and feed in that soil to make that plant grow right. It has to have the sunshine also. So we're going to tell you to go in there if you've had good results this last year. What I would do, I would dig the top part of that tub out, down about 4 or 5 inches of it, and put it in another container. Then I would start adding my sustain, if you follow me. That's the sustain, the 464, which is turkey poop, chicken feather composted. It's a slow release organic fertilizer that I like for people to use. You use a half of a cup in any of these 20 to 30 gallon containers. If you take 55 gallon barrels, cut them half in two and use 2 of them. Use a half a cup in each one of them. Then we will add in 1/4 of a cup of the sea mineral. This is not sea salt. This is sea mineral. It's been evaporated out of the ocean. It has 90-something different trace minerals in it. So it's just a good product to have. We sell it for $2.50 a pound if you want to order some of it. The other fertilizers are $2 a pound, and we'll sell you whatever amount you want. A little shipping added on top of it. You know, they have the box that's if it fits, it ships. We have a $10 box and a $20 box. And so anyway, then we add a 1/8 of a cup of lime, a 1/8 of a cup of Epsom salt, which you probably have under your container and under the counter in the bathroom. Can't talk this morning. And a 1/8 a cup of gypsum. You can't buy those anywhere. We can ship them to you. Anyway, what do we can do to help you grow a garden? We want you to be successful in growing you some homegrown food. I'm going to tell you, there's nothing like growing you some cherry tomatoes and letting the kiddos go out there and help you grow them. And when they get ripe, they pick them off and eat them right there standing by the plant. That will teach those kids, train those kids to eat vegetables. Have them to help you plant the lettuce, cut the lettuce, take your tomatoes, take your squash, a yellow squash or a zucchini, and go in there and make you a garden, get you some onions and cut up in it, and anything else you want in that salad, and let those kids eat it. They help you pick it, let them help cut it up, and put it in a bowl and let them eat it, and they will learn how to enjoy homegrown vegetables. They have a flavor like none other that you buy. These that you buy are picked green, brought in. There's no flavor in them. And so we're trying to encourage you to grow some of your own food and get into this. I know your grandparents did it. Then for some reason or other, we kind of all got lazy and went off to the chain stores and bought our food, and then we forgot how to garden. So that's what we're trying to do, is bring gardening back into you. I know we're all busy. Some of us holding 2 and 3 jobs down. We don't have time to plant a garden in the field and pull the weeds every day. So that's what we're teaching you about these raised containers wicking containers that we have water in the bottom of them. You don't have to water every day. We fix them where you don't have to weed every day. Makes your life so much easier. So we're trying to answer some questions, and that's the biggest question coming in right now from so many people on my text, is how do I regenerate my soil? So that's what I'm selling. Put that fertilizer down in there like I tell you. Then you can put you some fresh soil on top of that, 4, 5, 6 inches out of the bag, a fresh bag, and you're ready to go. You take this other soil and put this in another container, and time you do 3 or 4 of them containers, you've got another container ready to add the fertilizer and put some new soil on top of it. So don't waste that soil. Put it in the bottom, and the roots will go down into part of it. Okay, another question people are asking about, okay, I've got to get started planting seeds. Okay, yes, if you're going to, now's the time. You should be putting in some lettuce and spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, kohlrabi, mustard greens, anything like that, radishes, green onions. We're here in Oklahoma. We're starting to put out our onions now, our radishes out in these high tunnels. We've got, a lot of us have got their tomatoes already started. Here it takes you 6 to 8 weeks to grow a tomato plant ready to transplant. It takes you 8 to 10 weeks on a pepper to grow it. So you need to be getting your tomatoes and your peppers in the ground. And they say, well, do you plant them directly in the pot or you put them in little cups? We recommend, you know, you start them in some kind of little container. This is what we call a little 6-pack container. It'll hold 6 little plants. And we've shown you in the past how do you take a pair of scissors and cut this up into 6 pieces and drop these into water. Now, you can't leave the soil in them. You have to take them out and wash the soil off. But that's just to reuse these instead of waste them. Or you can keep them and plant your seeds back in them the next crop of lettuce you plant. That's a fast way to grow your lettuce, is grow you 6 of those little plants in there, put a couple seeds in each one of those cups, cover them over just a little bit of soil, set them in a saucer of water where it holds just about a 1/2 inch of water in the bottom of it or something, and let them grow up there and get big enough, 3 to 4 inches tall. Pull them out and plant them in your tubs around the edge and about 3 of them in the middle. You'll grow about 10 lettuce heads in a container if it's one of these 25-gallon containers. If it's a tomato, you put 1 in. Now, anyway, so yeah, we need to get started And I recommend growing them in these little containers and then transplanting them out. You can go out there, and we do sometimes. We do plant the lettuce or spinach. Sometimes we don't get it a good stand. It's a lot better to do this in the house, get it going in these and get it up, get it growing 2 or 3 or 4 inches tall, and then plant it out. Now then, some people ask, where's the best place to get your seed? You know, all the chain stores have seeds, just like I do. There's different brands. This happened to be a Ferry Morse. They send me a rack every year. The reason I let them send me a rack is because there's lots of seeds on there that I don't keep on my book rack of seeds. We have book seeds here. We sell these for $1. We've been selling them for $1 for the last 20 years. We haven't never went up on them. We should, but we just keep, that's just a staple that we do here. We just always have book seed for $1. People can come in here and get their seeds. Now, let's see how many seeds in this container here. This is radish seed, cost you $1. This is icicle radish. I'm going to pour these out and let you see what this $1 package costs. And I'm not saying you've got to buy book seed. A lot of people can't find places to buy book seed. There's still some feed stores around that are selling book seed. Daniel, I guess somebody's going to have to open this for me. It's got a staple in it. I can't even get it open. Daniel Arms, you know, if you watch him, I know most of you that watch me, watch him. He's got a friend that has a seed company that you could use his code, and I think get a 10% off of your book seed off of him. And go to Arms Family Homestead and watch him, and he'll tell you about it. I'm going to pour these seed. This is my $1 package. I'm going to pour it out in this little container here and show you what I've got here for $1. There's probably 1,000 or more seeds of radishes there for you for $1. So see, it's not expensive to raise a garden. You know, radishes do in about 3 weeks. Plant you radishes about, plant them about 2 inches apart so they'll make a good big radish. And what you do about every 2 to 3 weeks, you start you another little row of radishes or around this in this container and grow your radishes for your salad for these kiddos. And here's what the one cost. This cost $1.99 from this other company. It's $1.79. I'm sorry, Ferry Morse radishes. It's $1.79 for theirs versus mine for $1 for the book. So yes, you get a lot more seeds. Quality, I imagine their seeds just good as mine. Should be pretty fresh. Anyway, if you don't use all these seeds the first season, what do you do with them? Do you throw them away, or do you just throw them in a cabinet, or what do you do? The best thing to do is put these back in the container that you've took them out of. It tells you what they were, and then seal it up. You'll tape it back up so they won't fall out, and put this in the deep freeze. The best thing to do is stick them in the deep freeze in a plastic bag and keep them till next year. You can hold these seeds over 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and they get better and better as longer you keep them stored. Now, there's a few exceptions. Tomato seed, pepper seed, they all store real good. Onion seed is a problem. You can't store them. You have to use them the first year you get them. They're hard to get up. That's the reason we recommend you buy the little green plants. Chain stores is going to have them out in their garden center. Feed stores is going to have them. We're getting them in this next week. Here it is, the second week of January, and we're ready to start putting them out here in southern Oklahoma. Up north, you won't be able to yet, but you can order those onions. You can call us, and we can ship you some, or if you can't get them at home, or you can call the onion company. Can't think of the name of the onion company. That's what happens when you get to be 81 years old. You can't